One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads. I'm feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take them chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
They're back.
What up? What up? What up, though? What up,
What
though?
up, though?
7 days and went by, and we back again for another episode, The Dominant Effect.
Like that.
Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
You all know I'm Archbishop. We got Mike Ball, and we got Aaron Olinger. And this week we got another good show for you. This is one that if you didn't hear about it, now you will. It may be some hurt feelings in this at the end of this, but
That's okay.
But this one needs to get out. This one needs to get out, and it's long overdue. But before we get there, like always, we go through and check out and see how everybody done for the week. So Aaron, I heard you had a good week. So
Oh man,
tell us about it.
I was at the local gun and knife show here in Dayton vending products, and the panic buying was so crazy that I had tables that were sitting empty of merchandise. So as everyone could see on the wall behind me where I had a lot of weapons hanging,
Yeah,
they're
what
all
happened to
gone.
all that? What happened?
Oh, well, I had such empty tables at the end of Saturday that I had to fill those tables up to be open on Sunday. So I took some of my collection in. I had a price on it that I didn't care if it sold or not. And I'd be daggone if everything didn't sell. So I got to start my collection all over again.
Hey, that's fair.
So
You
I'm
know,
happy with that.
Let me ask you
absolutely.
this right quick. Why is everybody impulse buying all of a sudden?
Good
And
question.
I was wondering that myself. I even heard people say, I'm not a prepper, but I'm getting ready. I heard several people say that. So whether you're a prepper or not, some people feel the need to be arming themselves at this time. So I found that kind of interesting, and it was profitable to me. So I was fine with that.
Okay. Okay.
Hey,
So what
man.
about you, Mike?
No, good on you, Aaron, for that. I know that's an awesome business that you're into, man. I've seen your displays. It's like serious business. It's a lot of stuff that you've got, but good on you.
Thank
For
you.
me, it was mainly just a media week for me. As you guys probably know, there's just a lot of politic talk and stuff like that, and I run a political channel, so obviously that's it's been just a lot of stuff in the media lately. And so that's really where I've been putting a lot of my focus on, this last week. Other than hanging out with good friends and, drinking good drinks and having a good time like that with family and stuff. But yeah. How about you, AB?
Well, my I don't get no rest, brother. I'm always moving.
No, you don't. You don't.
So like I said, work like always. Doing everything we can do for this show. And
Yeah.
so of course, the movie stuff is still going. And well, I'm gonna be starting one Saturday. A
Woo.
new
First scene?
yeah, it's a new one called The Nasty Truth. Um should be pretty good from what I read on the script. Really good movie actually. Um like I said, we start on that one on Saturday, and then the other one that I was talking about before, that R&B, it got pushed back for a couple weeks, but it's going to be starting. That one here is going to be starting in a couple weeks as well. But so we kind of flip flopped. So I was supposed to have been doing R&B starting last week, and it got pushed back. But then this one popped up, so now I'm gonna be on this one. So
Well, good on you, dude.
um,
How many movies is this now? I mean, you're getting up there, man.
well, this one here this one here makes the third one.
That's awesome.
And then it's a few more down the line here that's been scheduled. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, so it's progress. You know what I mean?
Run
That ain't
it
nothing
up.
but God. That ain't nothing but God, brother. Because like I said
I
before,
hear
this is
you.
something that I wasn't ever thinking about embarking in. So so first and foremost, I got to give God all the glory when it comes to that, because like I said, that wasn't nothing that I thought I was going to do. But
Mm-hmm.
now that I am doing it, I'm just gonna take hold and keep doing what thus says the Lord.
Right.
Amen. Amen.
Right.
So this story, um, I got this story about 2 weeks ago. And when I first heard it, it was kind of mind-boggling at first. And then I was trying to put it together, and then I got a hold to this gentleman's mother. And the conversation that we had, and the manner in which she told me this story, it was like, I got to do it. I got to do this story. Um, so what we have here is several different things that's going on, and you, the viewers, will pretty much figure it all out as we go through the misjustice that has went on with this. So we're dealing with a young man by the name of Kelsey Rayner, and for some unforeseen circumstances, we'll get to it as we go further into the show. But he had found himself on the wrong end and ended up incarcerated. Now, that's not the problem that we have here. It's a lot of stuff that's going on that came on to that. Okay. But once he was there, he had gotten sick. Now, he was only there for 11 days. But he got sick during those 11
So
days.
while he was inside.
Right.
Right. Okay.
So while he was there, he was asking for, medical treatment, which was denied to him. And he sat there in pain, not knowing what was going on with him. And he went to court probably about 9 days in for an arraignment. And at that point, he basically begged the judge, like, listen, I need to go to the doctor. I need to be seen. And the words that he gave to the judge was, was more heartfelt than anything. And the judge, instead of doing an arraignment, he turned around and gave him probation, so that way he could go and go to the doctor. Well, that didn't happen. He ended up still in jail. Even though he was granted probation, he was still sitting in jail. Sat in jail for another 2 days. Now, during those 2 days, he's still sick. Mind you, when they took him to court from the beginning, he was so sick that they had to help him get dressed to even get to court in the first place. They went through every 30 minutes to do their check, laying in the floor, face down, moaning in pain. Mind you, there's video cameras in each cell. There's audio in each cell.
Mm-hmm.
Laying in the floor, face down, moaning. COs know that he's doing that. They're doing their little 30 minutes, so they see him doing it. But he's breathing, so they keep going by. Until there came a time that he was not. That man passed away in that cell due to the illness that he has succumbed to. And we'll get to that one here in a minute as well. But what we're talking about here is misjustice on a couple of different levels. Why was he not able to get medical attention? Why was he still held over in that jail even after he was granted probation? Why is it that these guards continue to go through and check every 30 minutes and nobody decided to open that cell to give that man help until he was actually in so much distress that he was just moments away from passing away? So tonight, what I have out here is that I have Miss May Joyner. Miss May Joyner is Kelsey Rayner's mother. And she's gonna come on here and she's gonna tell us this story. Now, mind you, some of the stuff that she may say may choke you up a little bit, but I need you to pay attention to the words that she's saying, because there's a message here. And this is also something that you need to think about, because this happened to her son. What keeps that from happening to my son,
Mm-hmm.
or even yours?
Sure.
So without further ado, let me get Miss May Joyner on here.
What's up? Oh, I did that twice.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Miss May. How are you, hon?
Hi, how you doing today?
I am great. It is good to see you. I was telling the audience here that me and you've had several conversations, and and I want to give you your time to tell your story. You can start wherever you want to start, and we're going to give you the floor and let you say it. But I know from the conversations that me and you had, you want to get this story out. You're in the process of trying to get this case reopened, because there's also some criminal things that's partaken in this as well. And but I want you to speak to the audience, and I want you to tell them what's going on here.
Hi, I'm the mother of Kelsey Rayner. I knew that he was in jail, but I didn't know when they booked him in, he was already running a fever of 99.9. And these are things that I didn't know until 3 years after the fact. When he passed, and I was told that he had passed, I asked to go to the jail to see Kelsey, and I was denied. The person that told me, I didn't know who he was. I thought he was from the sheriff department. But later, after the autopsy come back, I found out he was the coroner. And when I asked to see my son, he denied me. He said it might contaminate evidence. And my thought in my head was, what evidence? I didn't say it to him, but I told him these words. I don't have to go inside. I could just stand at the door and see my child. But I was denied that opportunity to see Kelsey. I didn't know Kelsey was going to court. No one contacted. No one told us that he had court until after the fact. I didn't know he was sick while he was in there until after the fact. But when it was 3 years later, in July, I watched the video. But before that happened, the day after Kelsey died, Sheriff Mark Milton instructed the family to come to the sheriff department for a family meeting. We went, and as a mother, I asked questions that I thought that I knew when they answered it, whether it was truthful or not. So my first question to him was, since they said he was lying in the floor, I asked the question. I asked, did he lay down or did he fall down? And the sheriff jumped right in and said, oh no, he didn't fall. But I tell you, 3 years later, when I looked at that video, my child fell face first into concrete floor with his leg folded up under him, that I thought it took hours to get his legs straight. And I didn't understand that, because working in the nursing field, I know the first priority is your patient. And I always thought the sheriff took an oath similar to what a nurse takes. The patient is first. The inmate is first. And I always worked that way with my patient. And I just could not understand, how can you allow a man to be in that much pain and not one person on the premises will dial 911? That part I don't understand. I don't understand, where was the heart of the people? And in that same meeting, I asked another question, because I know we, as a family, as a people, when we're in trouble, we pray. So I asked the question. I said, was he eating? And the jailer, Adam Bell, he jumps right in and said, oh yeah, he was eating. And he was not eating. I don't understand, what was the line about. Why couldn't they speak the truth? All they had to do was tell me the truth. Just tell me the truth. And just let me see my child. I have worked in nursing field long enough. It's not very much I haven't seen in 25 years of working as a nurse. They knew if I saw his face in the condition he was in, or smelled his body, that they had neglected him. They violated his rights. They neglected him medically. The nurses there did nothing. And it was their duty. It was their duty to call 911. Anytime you can't perform your duty as a nurse, as simple as drawing someone's blood, then you need to take them to the hospital. as soon as possible. And when they did a test, and it said his, I don't know how to pronounce the word, bilirubin, whatever it is, was high, test was ordered by a physician to do blood work. Never got it done. They dragged this thing out and dragged this thing out till my son died alone. We always been a close-knit family. They could have let me know. I'd have protested for him to go to the hospital. If I had to drive it myself, I would have taken him. I'm just not understanding. And I still don't understand today why. Why would you watch a man on video suffering, moaning, stumbling around in a jail cell, and all y'all do nothing? And everybody repeat the same sentences? He was still breathing? Well, I have news for everybody. We all still breathe until we stop. So what was they waiting on? Him to stop breathing? I'm not understanding. Why? Somebody need to give me some answers. And I'm still waiting on answers from somebody in that facility to tell the truth. Because if it was Kelsey and it was reversed, he'd have carried them to the doctor as fast as he could get them there. I know Kelsey. He was a very compassionate person. He didn't care who you was. He was willing to help.
Now, when they when all this stuff initially went on, they were saying that he was running a business without a license because he was selling produce. Am I correct?
He was, and he had a license.
Wow.
He had a business license. Let me see. I got a business license here.
No, you don't have to show anything. You know, we'll take
You
it.
don't have to. No, you don't have to show it.
Y'all know that license did not expire to December of 2017 after the death of Kelsey. That same license that say he didn't have, I took it to the sheriff's department, handed it to the lady behind the desk. She ran copies. And they still repeated the same lie that he did not have business license. He did. His uncle would never let him do anything in this city without being legit. And he made sure of that. And Kelsey had license. They just lied. Over and over again. The same lie.
So where do you think this lie came from, Ms. May?
I don't know why. I really don't know. But I know it seemed a lot of hatred going on in this county. Mistreatment of people when they should be happy.
There's a small video that I'm gonna play that it's actually a news clip from when this first happened. And then did you get the one message that I sent you, Mike?
No,
check your message, but I'm gonna play this right quick.
Oh, got you.
And then we're gonna come back to Miss May here in just a minute.
Sounds good.
Well, the video is disturbing. A man in his jail cell seemingly in agony. Hours later, that man is dead. The family of this South Georgia man say his medical issues were never addressed by jail staff. Investigators found no wrongdoing, and jail officials defend their actions. But family says those involved must be held accountable. On your site's Troy Cliff has the story. A
A Southeast Georgia man had asked a judge to release him from the Appling County Jail because he wasn't feeling well. 2 days later, video of his cell shows a guard checking on him hours before he passed away and doing nothing.
To find out today that my brother died such a horrible death, it reopens up wounds.
Kelsey Rayner is Kelsey Rayner's older brother. Before his death, Kelsey Rayner sold fruit from the back of his truck. In July 2017, records show he was arrested for theft and operating without a business license.
He begins to have pain within inside of himself, and he was asking for medical attention. He even went before the judge, and he told the judge that he was in so much pain and that he needed to go to the hospital.
Rayner's widow filed a federal wrongful death lawsuit in 2019. Both the Appling County Sheriff's Office and the jail's medical group deny any allegation of wrongdoing.
I witnessed him laying on the floor, and I went in there to try to get him up, but he didn't want to get up. He just stayed, pretty much being acting stubborn, but he was breathing.
In newly released video, a deputy who checked on Rayner that day later told investigators she thought he was fine. An autopsy said Rayner's cause of death was sepsis, a deadly infection created when his colon ruptured. The GBI investigated Rayner's death. District Attorney Jackie Johnson from Brunswick told the GBI there was no evidence to file charges. Rayner thinks his brother wasn't given proper treatment when he needed it most.
And you're supposed to serve and protect us. You are not serving and protecting us when you let a man die on your floor.
Rayner's wife is asking for damages in a federal wrongful death lawsuit. The Appling County Sheriff's Office and the medical group here at the jail have denied allegations of wrongdoing. We also reached out to Appling County Sheriff Mark Melton for comment, and we have yet to hear from him. In Baxley, Georgia, Troy Kless, First Coast News, on your side.
Brutal.
Yeah. So what we looking at here now? It showed the little clip of the guard that came in and checked on him. And when you look at that, it's like, okay, they noticed that something was going on, and then they came in and checked. That's not the case. Now, when you look at the actual video, the actual time-lapse video, they sat there and watched this man all day.
Yes.
Matter of fact, the sergeant did the shift before the night shift said that inmate Rayner is laying on the ground. He's moaning, but he's breathing. He's all right. Now, some of the stuff that I've seen all basically said the same thing, that they went through, they checked every 30 minutes. They seen him on the ground, moaning, making noises, but he was breathing, and they kept going. Nobody opened the door, checked to make sure that the man is okay. Now, from one of the papers that I've seen that had detailed information on there as to the countdown, as to how this went on, there was a guard that was in the tower that was actually looking at him the whole time. Turned his intercom on to where he could hear him the whole time. And every 30 minutes, he documented that inmate Rayner was on the ground, face down, moaning. Now, that started at 17:45. So every 30 minutes from 17:45,
Which is 5:45 p.m., by the way, for
so
24.
from 5:45 to 21:57, which is 9:57, 10 o'clock. Every 30 minutes, they walk by, shine the light in the room. One of them actually said that they told him to get up, but he just looked at him, and they just like, oh, well, he ain't getting up, and they just kept going. Nobody opened the door to even check on this man until 9:30. It was 9:30 when they went to check on him, and the only reason why they went to check on him at 9:30 is because the guard in the tower said, hey, y'all may want to check him because I don't hear him making noises now. That's when they went in there. And at 9:57 is when they all flooded in there because he had passed away. So all day long, this man is laid in that cell, hurting. Now, mind you, he was a slender built man, but being the fact that he had sepsis and his colon had ruptured, they said that his stomach looked like he had put a basketball up under his shirt. It is swollen so big.
Damn.
How did you not notice that?
No kidding.
Notice.
How you not notice that? How is it that when you walked to the door and you gave him an instruction to get up and get on the cell, get on the bed for count, and he didn't? Why you not go in there to find out why? That should have been the next thing that you did. You know what I mean? Once you shine a light in there, which is already lit up, it wasn't dark. But once you shine a light in there and you tell him to get up and get on the rack for count, and he doesn't, after the second time you do that, then you open the cell to find out why. That didn't happen. Now, a couple of days before that, when he went for his arraignment hearing, and you had to help the man get dressed, and you had to hold him for him to talk to the judge. Why you not let him go to the hospital then? When the judge put him on probation, why you not let him go? Why did you keep him there when he already had order from the judge to let him go? Put him on probation.
Should be that second. As soon as they get notified, boom.
Right. Why was he still there? You know what I mean? He should have left at that point. They should have went over there, processed him, put his clothes on, and sent him out the door.
Yep.
If they would have done that, it is a good possibility
he'd have been alive.
He'd be walking right now. But none of that took place. And then you have these officers that's basically like, oh, well, we did what we could. You didn't do shit.
That's right.
You didn't do nothing. You let that man lay there and die. You let him lay there and suffer. Now, they said that he had a ruptured colon, which put sepsis in his body. Now, if you remember, Mike, you remember in March, remember I had the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember.
I was down for what 2 weeks?
Oh, yeah.
Off of that. You know what I mean?
It's real. Yeah, it's a real ordeal.
I mean, I know and I just had I didn't have all of that where I had swole up and stuff like that because I had a micro perfusion instead of an actual rupture. But just that micro perfusion was enough. That was a lot of pain just from the micro perfusion. So you can imagine from an actual rupture, the pain that this man was going through to the point that you just watched.
Waited. Watch. Neglected. Intentionally.
Now, when they went after this, you had the district attorney, who was Jackie Johnson. And if a lot of you remember who Jackie Johnson is, she just got out of a trial dealing with Ahmaud Arbery because they had her in there for interference and stuff that she was not supposed to be involved in, and she was sticking her nose into, because one of the people that was responsible for unaliving Mr. Arbery used to be one of her investigators. This sheriff that we talking about, the sheriff Mark Melton, he was also an investigator for Jackie Johnson at one point before he became the sheriff. Now she turned around and said that there was she found no criminal negligence in this. I mean, how could she not? How could she not find something wrong here? You know, just based on based on what we've already seen so far, and we ain't even got down into it. You already see 3 or 4 different things going on here anyway. Now, this sheriff runs the jail. And from my understanding, he runs quite a few things there. Some of them that he shouldn't be. Let me see. Do I got a picture of Mr. Melton here? Let me show everybody who we talking about here. I mean, because we keep calling his name, at least we need to show who he is.
Mm-hmm.
So this is him right here. This is Mr. Mark Melton. This is the sheriff. Now, from my understanding, he runs the jail. So he could have very easily have made that call to get your son to the hospital.
And he should.
If my recollection is correct, then during the same time that your son was sick, there was another inmate woman that was sick, and she made it to the hospital. They took her.
They took her, left Kelsey.
They took
her and
left
him.
Yeah. So we got a little bit of something going on with all this. You know what? I'm gonna have I got Sheila on here. You mind if I put her on here right quick with you?
Okay.
Hey Sheila, unmute your mic. Can you hear us here?
No, we can't hear you yet. You're gonna have to hit the button down below to unmute. There's a little microphone.
No, I think she is.
Oh, let me see.
No, I don't see her. No, we can't hear you at all, Sheila.
Try to leave and come back in. That's like one of the only fixes.
Make sure that it could be because you have to go through and accept using the microphone and the video. That could be what the problem is. Go out and then come back in. We'll bring you back in. Aaron, I know you had something that you wanted to bring into this. You want to?
Yes. First, I'm going to give a little background. And by the time I get to the end of what I want to present, I'm going to tie all this together. All right. The background is Officer Anthony. He's the sergeant. He was tower guard up till 6. And then later, Officer Edwards was a tower guard. They moved Kelsey from the safe, from the regular general population to the safe wing, which was segregation. He was having trouble getting along with some of the inmates. They said he had a pattern of laying on the floor and crawling under the bed. Now, everything that I'm about to say is the picture that the guards tried to paint of this man, okay? And I'm going to show how flawed the guards was when I get further into this. They tried to say that when he found out in court, when he went to court, they said he was okay. But as we know, they had to help hold him up in court. But when he found out he wasn't immediately getting out of jail, they said he fell back into the pattern of hiding on the floor, hiding under the bed, hiding behind the toilet, and laying on the floor. That's the whole excuse. Now, they said they let him go see the nurse. Then they made him write a medical request to see the nurse. So he went through the paper process. Now, to me, he showed unusual behavior. But because he ate his food, that's how they tried to dismay that he was just acting out because he wasn't immediately getting out of jail. Now, Officer Edwards, who was in charge the day that he died, he assigned Officer Griffin to make checks on Kelsey. Now, they noticed him on the floor face down making noise, but Officer Griffiths made no attempt to get a verbal response from Kelsey and did nothing to check and see if he was even responsive. That's negligence in my book. Okay. This is a professional person that gets paid for a living to do this. Now, I've said on this show before, in any field you go into, whether you're in retail, whether you're factory work, whether you're a doctor, a police officer, whatever, 20% of the people ain't worth a damn. They just there to collect a check. And that's almost appears what some of these people were doing. They just there to collect a check. They ain't worth a damn. Okay.
Right.
Now, Jackie Johnson, the investigator, she testified that Christy Turner was the nurse at the jail. What I want to know is, was Nurse Christy Turner, is she a nurse practitioner? Does she have the authority to diagnose somebody? Is she just a basic nurse? If she's a nurse practitioner, she does. And where was the doctor at all this time? Now, obviously, anyone in this situation, especially Kelsey, being in jail would be under extreme mental stress. So he starts complaining about chest pains. Okay. That right there should automatically get you in to see a doctor immediately. They ignored it. That escalated into him complaining of lower back pain and stomach pain. Now, the autopsy showed the cause of death to be sepsis due to peritonitis due to healing perforation of his descending colon. Now, let me define to you some of these terms so everybody understands what this is. Sepsis is a very serious condition that occurs as a result of a complication with an infection. That in itself is life-threatening. I've never seen anyone live past 3 days that gets sepsis. They die. Now, what are the symptoms of sepsis? Now, keep in mind, you know what he was complaining of. Listen and see if you can figure out what conditions that should have made it obvious what he had. Symptoms is fever. We know he had a fever. Difficulty breathing. We know he had difficulty breathing. Low blood pressure. We don't know what that is because the nurse has not identified or said what his blood pressure was. He had a fast heart rate. That would explain the chest pains. Then there was mental confusion. That would explain why he was hiding under behind the toilet, why he was hiding under the bed, why he was doing that. Anyone that's ever watched any sort of medical series on TV like House or The Resident or whatever, they always have 1 or 2 episodes where they show someone coming in the ER or coming in and they're acting erratic. And immediately the hospital wants to send them to the mental ward. But the star of the show does some tests and discovers there's something wrong with their organs inside that's knocked their body out of balance, which knocks their mind off. So there's mental confusion. I mean, when people get head injuries and they go into the emergency room, their behavior is going to be erratic because they're not thinking clearly. This man showed all the symptoms and it was missed. Now, if you want to treat sepsis, how difficult is that? It's a simple regimen of antibiotics and fluids.
That's what
That's it. It is that simple. Now, what is the peritonitis? That is inflammation of the membrane lining the abdominal wall and covering the abdominal organs. That in itself is life-threatening. So he's got 2 life-threatening conditions here, sepsis and this peritonitis. Now, what is preparation of the descending intestine? That is an actual hole in the wall of the small intestine or the colon. Now, the preparation of the intestine causes the contents to leak into the abdomen. This causes a severe infection called peritonitis. So that explains why his stomach was extended, because he had this condition. He had actual hole in his intestine. Now, his stress level was so high that it accelerated apparently a condition that he had that he wasn't aware that he had. Now, how do you cure that? It requires surgery. The reported mortality rate after surgery is still 30 to 50%. 30, 50% of people don't survive that. Once sepsis was recognized, it required him to be transferred to an ICU unit.
Right away.
They didn't do it because he was misdiagnosed from the beginning. They ignored all the symptoms. One thing is for sure, it's doubtful whether the patient would have survived without surgical intervention. He had no shot between the peritonitis being life-threatening, the sepsis being life-threatening, and without surgery, he had 3 strikes. There was no way he was going to survive that situation. Now, to me, the guards were negligent. I mean, I've never worked in a prison, nor would I want to. But when you work in a condition like that, does your heart harden so much that you lose empathy for your fellow man? I mean, you're there to be a good steward of the people that you're taking care of. And if you're going to ignore them, and I mean, are you there just to collect a check? I mean, what are you doing? And is it their job to diagnose him? No, they're security guards. But they should have sensitivity training enough to recognize when someone is having, um, they can't breathe, and they're having problems trying to make it. They should be sensitive enough to recognize that there was a problem here. So, but they definitely lacked empathy for it. Now, the nurse, go back to her. Was she a nurse practitioner? And why didn't she see all these symptoms? I mean, they were all right there in her face.
That's right.
If she's a regular nurse, then that's not her authority to diagnose that. He should have been able to see a doctor at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And because of misdiagnosis, that's the largest killer of some of the people in the United States. I mean, you can take all the people that died from alcohol related car accidents, all gun related accidents, etc., and it don't add up to the number of people that die from misdiagnosis. This was a travesty here, and it never should have happened. I'll stop there.
Yeah, Stephanie, you're absolutely right. Medical treatment should have came before anything. And that's what I was saying before. When you walking through and you doing those checks, you see that this is going on. Why was this not checked? Now, since they were releasing video of this, now, why did they not release a video of him getting a doctor call?
Amen.
Or a nurse coming to the cell to check him out? Because if he's in segregation, then the nurse should come to him because he's in segregation. You know what I mean? So, and I don't know whether whether you've even looked into that, mate, but I haven't seen no video. I ain't seen no
video or nurse either,
or report to say anything about him even getting a nurse call. You know what I mean? So you would think that if a nurse would have came in there and seen him and seen that his stomach was extended the way it was, being his body size and type, she would have automatically had sent him up out of there. There is no way that any nurse, whether she was a practitioner or just a regular RN or LPN, there is no way that they could have went in there and checked that man and seen that he had a extended abdomen like he had. And from the one video I seen, it was very, very clear to see that it was something else going on there and leave him there. There's no way humanly possible. Let's try Sheila one more time, see if we can get her on here. She's still on.
No.
It is something wrong. It is something wrong with your volume, dear. We can't check your.
You may have to go into settings. You may have to go into settings and go into your microphone and pick the whatever sound that you're using, whether it's a phone.
Yeah. Do you have
microphone?
Yeah. Go into your settings on the bottom and see if you can't go to your microphone and cut it on.
That would be the last guess I have.
Yeah, because your video is fine. We just can't hear you. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that one. But we'll just keep her on here.
Unfortunate.
So that way when she do kick it on her, that we can hear her.
Sure.
So, May, let me ask you this. At the end of the day, what do you want out of this?
It's a good question.
I want justice. Justice for medical neglect. Medical neglect. When you see a person in pain and they has an odor, they didn't talk about that part. But when the guard went into the cell and covered her nose, she knew something was wrong right then. So why didn't she call 911? All of them knew he had an odor there. When he went to court, he had an odor. And I know this because I had a cousin that was in the same transport to the court when Kelsey went. He never realized Kelsey was my son till after he was dead. They smelt him.
Did you find that video I was talking about, Mike?
I didn't see which one, but I have it pulled up right here of like a whole bunch of them. Which one in particular are you looking for? The one like the footage of him inside like the cell type of thing?
It'll say on the description, it'll say no it'll say something to the reference of no sound.
No sound. Okay,
Yeah.
let me see. I'm looking.
It's
I found it.
It says time lapse.
Yep.
You'll see it.
Found it. Okay.
Let's show that.
Okay. 3, 2.
Because I want them to see this.
Okay.
He was laying on the floor. He was actually on his knees with his face down.
Let me see all that.
I had Sergeant Downey to check on him. He was all right, make sure he was breathing. At no point through the night did he ever notify us that there was anything wrong with him.
See her nose covered? And she smells him.
Right. See, now that's when she first comes in there.
She smells him. She covered her nose. If my patient was laying in the floor like that and I didn't call 911, they will lock me up. Now, why aren't they locked up?
Now that was at 8:20. Now the time lapse is still going.
Trying to get to the back. Oh, he's dead.
Right now.
They know he's dead. Now they want to do CPR.
Yeah, at 10 o'clock. Over an hour later.
Now they want to play savior.
Damn.
They destroyed all the evidence when they moved him. And they said I was going to contaminate him.
That's unfortunate. So I'm sorry that happened to you and your family. It's terrible.
Are you on there yet, Sheila? Can we hear you yet? Say something.
No.
We still can't hear you on here.
Dang it. We tried, though. We tried.
Let's see. So, I'm not sure the reason why. I think on there when you first go on, it asks you to get in permission to use your video and your audio. And if you don't click on both, it'll give you one, not the other, or whatever. But you usually can go in your settings and be able to pull that up to be able to fix it. I'm not quite sure why I kept doing that. So let me ask, May. So you said that you want justice for your son.
I want justice. I want everyone that was involved held accountable, because all should have called 911, and they didn't all have to do it at one time. They could have went on their break and called 911. They could have went home and called 911. If they thought it was going to lose their job, to die from the job, they should have called from home. They could have called.
Now I got you. Now I got you on here.
So let me tell you, Kelsey was transferred from another jail. He was in Pierce County. He got arrested in Pierce County on July. But let me go a little further back. Now, when all these charges came about, he was arrested in April of 2017. He rented a building on City Circle Road from a man named Billy Easton. I guess Mr. Easton got mad with Kelsey. He got mad with him, and then because Kelsey took out some old equipment out of the building. This is when the charges started.
This is the building that he rented, correct?
The building that he rented from him. Matter of fact, he rented the building April the 5th. He got his license, his business license, on April the 6th. On April the 16th, they arrested him for theft by taking, which means they claim he stole his equipment out of the building. And so, you know, while he was in jail, this is like a long thing that they was doing to him. It started from April and it ended his life in July. They kept arresting him for little things when it should have been a civil lawsuit. And Mr. Easton and Kelsey spoke about this equipment. Now, Kelsey would go to the sheriff's office and he would file complaints. He making complaints about the stuff that was taken out of the building, that it got ignored by the sheriff's office. There were several complaints that was filed on Kelsey that filed with the sheriff's office that got ignored. Now, on the 25th, Kelsey was at the Baxley Church of God, and apparently one of the members. So these are people who all presides at the same church. These are known deacons at the Baxley Church of God. He got into an altercation at the Baxley Church of God with Joey Hires. These people are all Mark Melton's friends. You see, this is how all this was taking place. And when those nurses, like take July, he was in Pierce County, locked up in jail. They arrested him on the 13th of July. His bond got dismissed on the 14th of July. On the 15th of July, he's back in Appleton County Jail because Pierce County gave him an OR, released him out of the jail. They knew he was sick over there. They did an intake on him in Pierce County, but they helped and got him out of there. Did they know what was going on between the two sheriff offices? Did they know? I'm pretty sure they did. So he gets locked up in gets locked up in Appleton County on the 15th. On the 16th, they do an intake on him. And the inmate, they wrote in here, Lynn Marsh wrote in this thing saying, inmate has a history of paranoid schizophrenia. Inmate was very paranoid during intake and was upset by the presence of the officer in the clinic. Inmate was taken to a dorm and quickly had to be placed in SEG due to him attempting to fight with the entire dorm. New orders for Claritin, 10 milligrams of Vistaril, 50 milligrams bid per protocol. They kept socializing his sickness with him being a schizophrenia. They didn't give him any medication. They kept notating all this information. They notated on the 16th. They notated on the 20th. This is they notated first in April the 16th when he was locked up. But see, Every time he would get out of jail, they would find some reason to lock him back up in jail.
So it seemed like it's like a lot of frivolous charges, though, wasn't it?
They was frivolous charges. They was very frivolous charges. On July the 20th, you see where they notated something. He was inside the jail then. They knew he had a high bilirubin. They just didn't care. They just did not. And the night that he died, the guy in the tower, he noticed that something was wrong with him. And nobody said anything. It didn't dawn on neither one of them to say, this man is sick. Let's get him to the hospital. Now you had two supervisors. One was a corporal, which was Tina Mercedes, the one that walked into his cell and seen him on the floor. The tower person notated that he told him that something was wrong. He told her to go and check on him, but she walked by his cell and looked at him and saw him on the floor. This is the second time she went in there. When y'all see her walking in front of him. Now they all was in heart. And then he also said that he told her to check on him, but she said, oh, he was breathing. He was fine. Mm-hmm. And then you have one of the inmates that was screaming out and trying to tell them something was going on with him. The other sergeant, she is the one who took the female to the hospital. Her name was Elaine Downey. And they said that this woman, the woman and the guards was standing outside Kelsey's cell laughing about him suffering on the floor. He was suffering while they standing outside his cell laughing.
Wow.
And nobody did anything for him. They basically watched him over and over and over again. Which one of them people was going to say, this man is in distress? When are we going to help him? They didn't care. They showed they did not care. And this went on and on and on and on. How could you be so cruel to let this man, that could have been my son, that could have been anybody's child in there. What if the situation was different? What if it was a black sheriff and a white inmate that died? Would they care?
Yes, they would have.
Would they try to help him?
Yeah, they would have.
Mm-hmm.
And
now,
when
this county jail is run by the sheriff, correct? Somebody.
Yes, that county is ran by the sheriff. Even the judges, if the judges make a decision, he denies it. He'll come behind them and denies it.
Yeah, this is the sheriff here, correct?
Yeah, that's him. It was a senseless death that could have been avoided.
It could.
That was hateful, very hateful for y'all not to do something for him. Even when he was in the court bleeding, they could see his bloody sheet. I watched one of the videos for like 6 hours one night. I set up to watch this video. Now, the fact that they notated that Kelsey was a schizophrenia, their policy said they were supposed to check on him every 15 minutes, not 30 minutes. Why didn't they do it? That's straight up neglect right there. You socializing his schizophrenia or him acting funny. Those officers was just saying anything to the interview. And there was 3 of those people on that shift that night didn't even get interviewed. Elaine Downey was one of them.
Why?
There were 2 other ones that didn't get interviewed. Now, if you think about it, this case was closed. It was covered up from the beginning. It was never supposed to be talked about. The only reason this case came out is when there was another man running for sheriff. He ran for sheriff, and then that's when all these documents appeared.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew. They thought it was just a regular death. And in 2019, all this stuff came out. By BaxleyInformer.com, they brought it all out to the forefront.
Now, being the fact that this sheriff runs to jail, shouldn't he be held accountable for this?
Yes, I say so. Because he was the head chief in order, giving orders. If he don't give the order of what to do, then maybe somebody would have had sense enough to do what was right to do. Somebody had to give an order.
But you have to understand, these are people who are not qualified to be sitting in the positions in the first place. They don't want qualified people. They want people who is going to do sort of what the president is doing right now. Do what I say. If you don't do what I say, this is what I'm going to do to you. He doesn't want qualified people in there. Now, every one of those people who dealt with Kelsey something should have been done. Their license should have been taken away.
It should have been fired.
Something should have been done, but they didn't care.
It seemed like this is now. I've never actually been to this town, so I would assume, is this a small town that we dealing with here?
Baxter's supposed to have like 18,000 people. Okay. 18,000, maybe 600, and I don't know, 18,000 or something.
Okay, so relatively small town.
Yes.
And you got a sheriff there that he basically been running the roost there for the longest. So he's kind of one of them, like you said, do as I say, not as I do type situation.
Or you scratch my back and I scratch yours. But even if when Kelsey went to court and he was given probation to be released, where was your heart to say, this man is sick, let me get him to the hospital? Even if he had some other type of charges, let me take him to the hospital because his medical outweighed any other charge.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get him to the hospital. He needs to go to the hospital.
Medical always outweighs any charge.
So why didn't you let him go to the hospital?
Mm-hmm.
What reason?
Why didn't they let him go to the hospital when? Okay, so you said that he was sick when he was in Pierce County, and they gave him a OR bond and let him go. But then the sheriff picked him up there and put him in jail here
because they probably was communicating with each other.
Okay.
And Pierce County would have had to take him to another jurisdiction, to another hospital. It's all basically about the money. Because if you're responsible, you run this jail, but you're responsible for this man or whoever the inmate is to get medical. That's money they got to spend out of the budget. So where was your heart to say, I got to help this man. Let me get him to the hospital. At least let me get him to the hospital. And then if I got any more charges on him, then we'll just bring him back to jail. Mm-hmm. That was some cold-hearted hatred going on. And to this day, he has not apologized to the family. He has not done nothing, really. He's not spoken about that case. It's just sitting. It's just sitting. And this case was put in the hands of the Attorney General's office in 2021. It's just sitting in the Attorney General's office.
Yes, it is.
Now, how long has it sat there?
It's been since April of 2021.
So it's just been sitting at the Attorney General's office.
It's just been sitting there. Nobody has done anything.
So what needs to be done so what May was talking about earlier when I asked her what does she want out of this, and she said that she wanted justice. Now, if this paperwork is sitting at the Attorney General's office, what else can be done to get this going?
Well, I don't know. I mean, she can get it in the hands of somebody else, but who can you trust? Like, you don't never know who is working with who. Look what they just did to Jackie Johnson. They let her go scot-free. And she got other cases out there. I saw 27 of them where she did not recuse herself off of those cases and get another prosecutor. She would just call her buddies to come in and do whatever needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. Now, now they've, from what we was talking about before, they had another lawyer before, and then he just disappeared, just stopped working on it.
I don't know what he did.
No.
I
I
think
was asking
Which-
May. She was
Oh,
telling me
The
about that.
lawyer that did that civil case for the wife, he came to see me first. I don't know what they decided, but when I knew anything, I was no longer in the case. I was no longer his client. So I don't know what deal he made for himself. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he did. They didn't keep me informed with anything.
Now the wife did file suit, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then she basically signed a non-disclosure and disappeared. Is this
But that's her non-disclosure. I didn't sign a
right?
non-disclosure. I want justice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it seems like with this that you have to now, based on, now I know you got a lot of evidence and a lot of proof behind this, but it seems like you have to get a whole nother team behind this to get this brought back up to the forefront to try to get something done. I mean, because you got time that just keeps going by. That so the more time that goes by, it's like kind of out of sight, out of mind to certain people. You know what I mean? And it's kind of crazy these days that when something that could have happened Friday, when you talk about it next Friday, and half people don't even know what the hell you're even talking about. You know, which is why a lot of stuff get pushed to the wayside. You know what I mean? Because if it's not up close and personal and in your face at that particular moment, it goes. Don't nobody think about it. It goes in one ear and out the other, and you know what I mean, and don't nobody care less about it. You know what I mean? But I think there needs to be some genuine help come your way. You know what I mean? Now, I know you're involved in the NAACP. I know you are too,
Yes,
as well,
I am.
Sheila. Is there like some kind of legal thing that can be done on that end to help out, or would you have to go to someone like Crumpler or one of them type lawyers and have them to do it?
I think she really needs somebody that's willing to take this case and look at it and do something about it. Because there have been other people, things happening in there in the jail. You know, as far as like Tremar Harris. Did you see that video?
Yes, that's the one where he was strapped down to the chair and he was choked
Right.
by one of the by one of the officers, correct?
Exactly.
That was Kelsey's friend. That same guy carried Kelsey's body the day of the funeral.
Yeah, I seen that video where he was strapped down and they took some kind of, I don't know whether that was a rope, a cord, or something, and put it around his neck and was choking him. I did see that, and from what I was reading, there has been a couple of incidents where people are now unalive that happened in that particular jail. I think one was a female that had told him that I guess she had got arrested for some kind of drug offense or whatever, and she told him that she had swallowed something, and they left her in there, and she ended up passing away. And it was another one that I seen on there about a young guy that had passed away from there as well. But I heard that there was actually a couple more that's happened. So this jail isn't 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 prone to people going in and not coming out.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of seems like that's what a lot of this is going to. You know what I mean, but there has to be something.
It's the
It just has
leadership.
to.
It's a law, but it's overlooked. It's a law for it.
Could
It's
I
just
mention
not
something here,
good
Bishop?
leadership.
Go ahead, Aaron. Go ahead.
It's just not good leadership there.
Right. I find it also equally disturbing that, when I was looking into this case, I didn't see anything where the prison has changed any policies or procedures to prevent this from ever happening again. I don't know if they was to change it, that would be an admission of guilt on their part, but I haven't seen nothing change to where if someone was sick like this, that the same thing couldn't reoccur.
It's happening everywhere. In
Yeah,
all
something's
the
got to change there. Something's got to change. Absolutely. That's ridiculous. This whole thing is. It's unreal. It's crazy that life is even in consideration. You know, it's unreal. I'm sorry to all of you guys that have dealt with this. This is insane.
And have you noticed that most of the stories like this that we've been talking about, have you noticed one main thing about it? Does anybody call on to that, Aaron or Mike?
Yeah, that the mainstream media is not going to talk about it.
Well, that too. But I'm talking about most of these stories that we've been talking about. It's always something dealing with somebody in Georgia.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's always somebody in a small town in Georgia just getting fucked with.
No kidding. You're right about that.
I mean, because I mean, this is like maybe the third story that we've done about something.
Yep.
About something happening. That's something that happened there. But mind you, I get calls all the time from different people telling me about stuff that's going on. Like, man, you may want to check this out. You may want to check this out. And a lot of them I do. I mean, certain ones I don't bring up, for various reasons. But it seems like this is so much stuff that goes on, and a lot of it that goes on happens in Georgia, small town Georgias. And it's dealing with with a lot of this stuff here. You had the one child that had they were looking for him, and they found him in a river, and a couple kids that was responsible for that. I got a story about that. I got this story here. I got a story about one that he was an Uber driver and had dash cams in the front and the back, and the police stopped him, harassed him, and the whole bit, not realizing that the man had cameras in the car the whole time. Then you have the one dealing with Derek that when they try to take his land, actually that was kind of some bittersweet. There's a bittersweet ending to that. But that happened in Georgia as well. So it seems like it's so much stuff that's going on. I mean, and like I said, we getting a lot of this stuff from Georgia, but it's a lot of these little small towns that goes through this stuff. It's not just in Georgia. It's a lot of these small towns, and a lot of this stuff that goes on is going on in the South. You don't hear about a lot of this stuff in these little small Midwest towns. You hear about a lot of this shit in the South.
Well, and I just wrote something regarding that. I live in the Deep South currently, and I don't stand by any of this. I'm running for Alabama House of Representatives 2026, just in case anybody didn't know that. This type of bias does need to stop in general. We are all above this. Listen, this is like an old mentality type of ordeal that is dead now. I mean, it's dying. It's going to be dead here in a little bit, because the truth is I look at it's I know this is a touchy subject all the way around, but I don't understand why people don't see that the actual common enemy was the government. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of my generation that took a step back and said, you know what? Fuck all this culture bullshit. Like, we have a real enemy here, and it's the government. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? So again, this is not something that I would stand for by any means. And I'm someone that actually is trying to represent the South. So I just wanted that to be clear.
Well, let's hope that's the case. You know what I mean? I've seen it's been several things that's been going on here lately. Like I said, a lot of stuff goes on in the South, but up in the Midwest, there's been
True.
some stuff going on up there too. So some stuff went on up there.
No,
in
there's no
Cincinnati.
doubt. And I'm not belittling any situation, just so everybody knows. You know,
Yeah,
what I mean?
that there's been some stuff going on in Cincinnati. There's been a lot of flyers that's been spread around in these small towns that I got several calls about that and pictures of these flyers and stuff like that. I don't know what people thinking. You know what I mean? I think we need to just get these shirts printed out and just say FAFO. You know what I mean? Because you can throw all the flyers you want, you talk all this bullshit you want, and it's fine. Talk about it. But the moment that you decide that you're gonna step up to the plate and do something, then that's when that FAFO gonna come around to you. And if you don't know what that means, look it up because you will find out real quick.
I think in the deep South, people are scared to speak out. They're afraid to be retaliated on. Is the reason why they don't say anything.
Well, Sheila, I'll speak on that because I'm a staunch conservative for that matter. You know what I mean? And I'm somebody that sees absolutely there's no politics in that. It's what is humane. You know what I mean? Like, if I take somebody into my household, I don't care what the situation is, I'm going to be held liable if they're deceased in my house. You know what I mean? Like, it's very simple. Why is the double standard with the prison? That's unreal to me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's all happening on our tax dollars, our
Absolutely.
hard-earned money. Why do we have to pay for our children being mistreated in jail or die? Why do we have to pay for that? Our tax dollars are being spent on unnecessary stuff.
Well, yeah, it is. It is. And like you got, like I see what Mike talking about, but you also got to think, Mike, on your end, like you just got down into the deep South. You a California boy. So
I've always been the same way. I've always been the same way politically.
I get you on that.
I was the opposition there.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
I
get you on that. What I'm saying is that when you back years ago, when you lived in the South, there were certain things that applied in the South that didn't apply anywhere else.
Totally. And I'm not belittling that aspect. You know what I mean? Like, I totally know that.
Let me finish. So what I'm saying is that you got people down there now that won't say nothing out of fear of
which is bullshit. That's bullshit.
Because this is something that they've seen go on before.
Right, but that's bullshit.
You know what I'm saying? So like I said, I'm down here. I mean, I'm in the South now too, but I wasn't. So I can't speak on what somebody else
past culture. I'll give you a little bit of a clue that even before I moved here, I've been reporting on the South for years. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm out of touch or don't understand, you know what I mean? Like the culture, because I actually do.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's different when you have to live through it as opposed to being on the outside talking about it.
I 100% understand that point of view as well. Totally.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, something has to be done. Like I said, I know some people there in Georgia that I'm going to talk to and see if I can get them to get a hold of you, Miss May, and see if something can be done. This can't keep sitting. You know what I mean? No, I know for a fact that if this was my mother and something happened like that, it ain't nothing nobody gonna say or do to stop her until she got what she gonna get out of it.
100,000%.
You know what I mean? She said to jail and pick them off one at a time until she got her justice out of that deal. You know what I mean? She ain't gonna sit around and let this slide. Just like Miss May don't want to sit around and let this slide, but you also gotta have the right resources to be able to push this issue.
True.
You know what I mean? And especially being the fact that the same woman that just got off of some shit just here a week or two ago is also one of the same people that said that this wasn't a crime.
And it is a crime. It's a crime.
You know,
all day long.
Who made the claim? Who made the claim that it's not a crime?
Jackie
Same
Jones.
DA, Jackie Jones.
Same DA that was on the Ahmaud Arbery case. The same one who just got out of some shit on a
crazy GBI to close the case.
All right. I appreciate that. Sorry for asking. You know, it's just, yeah. I'll follow up on that.
Yeah, she's been a part of a lot of stuff that's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I'm sure of it.
That one, the Arbery case
evident.
It was more mainstream because of what happened and the stuff that went along with that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some more stuff there too. That once you start digging around,
peel back the layers.
Then you won't find a whole lot of other stuff. So I mean, you pretty much figure her name gonna be brought up again in something else soon. You know what I mean? Because you done covered up one thing, or you done tried to cover up one thing, then I'm pretty sure it's probably some other stuff that she didn't try to do as well. But we'll see. But we're gonna turn this show down. I'm gonna say my little thing first. First of all, I want to thank you, Miss May and Sheila, for being on the show. Also, I want to give my sincere condolences to you, May, because I know what all you going through. The conversations that we had is the reason why I decided to do this show, because I could feel the pain in your voice as you was talking to me, and I couldn't turn a blind eye to that. So I thank you for being on the show and being able to share your story. Sheila, once again, I appreciate you being on here, for you shedding the light on the other side of this and for the stuff that's going on. I was trying to get Kanisha on here, but her video keeps going in and out, and Larry's video keeps going in and out, because I had some other people that wanted to come over and talk as well, but the videos kept going in and out. And to all of you that's watching, like I said, I appreciate you each and every week. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Put this video out. Let your people see this video and see what's really going on in these towns. What's really going on? You know, because this is something right here that you're not going to see. Mainstream ain't going to talk about it. A lot of these shows aren't going to talk about it. But right now, we're talking about Miss May's son. But this could be your son or your daughter or your, cousin, uncle, whomever. I mean, everybody got somebody in their family that done got in trouble and then had to sit down for a couple of days or years or whatever. So this show can relate to everyone. But what if this happened to you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of this stuff is about. You know what I mean? People tend not to pay attention to stuff because it doesn't happen to them. And once it happens to them, then they want everybody in the world to respond to it.
Most people don't know how to be empathetic.
Exactly.
For real.
So think about this as though this is somebody in your family, your brother, your uncle, your cousin, your son. Pass this around. Let them watch this. Hit the like button on your way out. And I'm gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna close this, man, because I'm gonna tell you, I got a lot of feelings about this. I mean, I feel, and just by doing this show, I feel some kind of way about it. So I'm just gonna end it. I'm just gonna end it. So like I said, thank you all for coming out. I'm gonna let everybody say something. So Mike, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let I'm gonna let Sheila, let Aaron, and then let Miss May say her thing, and then you close it out on
Close
the
it.
end.
Sounds good.
Okay. So go ahead, Sheila.
I just really appreciate that you, helping with this and sharing this information out there so Miss May can get some justice, because she been trying to get something done, and I've been trying to help her as much as I can. So, trying to bring about some change and including other people in as well. I thank all of y'all who on this panel, and it's good to meet you. I think I've seen Mac before. I never seen the other gentleman.
Well, it was very nice to meet all of you. I very much appreciate everybody coming on here first and foremost. This is a heavy story. That's not a very easy thing to be able to start like being asked on, so I very much appreciate you guys coming out and telling the story for real.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
and I
Aaron.
would say that my heart goes out to Miss May. I mean, this would be a crushing weight on me if I was to out survive my daughter. That's not the normal course of things and the way things should be. Uh, but I hope that she continues to meet this challenge head on, and I hope she prevails in the long run. I'll stop there.
Go ahead, Miss May. The floor is yours.
Well, I thank each and every one of you for your help, but I don't want this to happen to anyone else's child, to go into a system and be neglected until you are dead and keep repeating you're breathing. We all breathe till we stop. I feel within my heart of heart that they should have called 911. See, I had another son that had the colon problem. The one that spoke on the news, he was treated. And he is a living example that I believe Kelsey would have lived if they would have given him medical attention. Call 911, take him to a facility, and let him be treated. It's about life, y'all. Everybody have to realize you got somebody that you love so much that you don't want them to go through such things as this. People have to remember life makes a circle. What you give in life, you get. And I believe that with everything within me. It's true. It will come home to roost. So be careful the way you treat your fellow man. We are human beings. We are not robots. We have pain. We have feelings. And it matters whether people think it don't or not. It matters when you have to go through these things and people just ignore you. It matters. It matters because you're not the one being shot. Your case is not as important. Dead is dead, no matter what you say. And a lot of the lawyers turned down the case because his life was not taken by a bullet, but it was taken from him. It was taken when they would not allow him medical treatment. His civil rights were violated all day long. They should have changed places with him. Hey, if I was laying in this position, well, I want someone to call 911 to help me out. They just need to change places. Just do it for an hour and see what your answer will be. Thank y'all.
Thank you again, Miss May, for coming out. I appreciate you more than you know. And we're gonna keep in touch and keep talking, and and hopefully, by the grace of God, we get the right people in the right place to be able to help you.
I just want justice.
So once again, everyone, like I said, thank you all for coming out, and hit that like button on your way out, so that way we can send this up to YouTube and our algorithm and get it pushed out to where it needs to get pushed out to. So until next week.
They didn't take theirs, they took mine.
Yeah. So until next week, everybody.
Good night.
Much love, honor, respect, everybody. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.